So, welcome to my talk. It's the last talk of the day, so it will be a little bit shorter. So I won't bother you much longer because we are delayed anyway. Basically, I will be talking about the Czech Game Developers Association, uh, which is a newly established organization where I am chairman, and you will realize or learn what this organization is all about, how can you benefit out of it a little, and if and how you can join it. Um, so basically, this organization was established in April this year. You probably, quite a lot of you were at the talk of Daniel Vavra today, where he a little bit talked about the Czech Game Developers Association and also quite a lot about the numbers, comparing it to movies industry and what should be done for the industry as a whole. That was actually the purpose why we established this association, and we see that now is the time that the industry should start getting organized and create some value for the industry. The association was founded by 15 members. You can see the founding members and their logos on the right side, and if you are quick at the basic numbers, you can see that there are only 14 logos. That's because the 15 members individual member, and so you can see that we accept not just the companies but also individuals, even though the main focus is on the company members, and even the individual is basically entering on the similar terms as the company. Even though we've got only 15 members, the association and its member base right now represent more than 60% of the whole game development industry in Czech Republic. This means in terms of revenues or in terms of number of employees, it's a little bit above 60%. That's because all the major companies, or let's say like 6 out of the top 10 companies, are already members. As of now, the association is completely privately funded, which we think is right now a positive start, but it doesn't mean that we won't be looking for some public funding which could help us expand our activities and do more stuff. And of course, you can find more information at the website gda.cz. So what's the gaming association? What does it mean? So basically, the main activities consist of like things that are written here: protecting, promoting the interests of the industry. This is a huge thing because right now the game industry is doing pretty well. It's paying lots of money in form of taxes and other fees to state, but receiving not much in return. And so especially the bigger companies feels like, which look at the long-term prospects, see that there is necessity for such organization that would protect their rights, especially when some politician decides that they should, I don't know, do some stuff negative for this industry, and also like promote or push the requirements that we would like to achieve for which would benefit the industry. As the basic tool, obviously we need some data, so the association is also collecting and publishing the data. We also are active in the international field in terms of cooperation with other organizations. Usually a gaming association are also good place to promote and make more visible the whole industry, and sometimes doing even like these community things like events, workshops and lectures. For our association, this is not that crucial, not a big priority, because we already got some organization like Game Developers or České, that's already doing these things like the community work. So for us, the main thing is basically the first point, and you can like say that that's the lobbying. That's what our focus what will be the activity. But I got it here, collect and publish data, so we should publish something. This was the first or major thing we set as our goal, to do some proper research. In this decision, as we thought that we should do it properly, we hired independent organization. It's an Institute for Digital Economy, and in cooperation with them, we started gathering data. Maybe some of you received, I don't know, a few months back, an email from the institute asking for some data of your game development activities, game development business. The research is, or the data gathering is already closed, so I can publish the first few facts. If you remember the data that Daniel already had at his talk, you will see a few differences there. That's because this is completely exclusive new thing which we are releasing for the first time, and not even our members seen that, but we are releasing just the main basic facts. The whole study will be released soon with very in-depth data and also description, what was the methodology and everything. So right now in Czech Republic we are aware of 76 studios. This is not just only companies, but also studios means that, I don't know, 2-3 entrepreneurs join together and release a game together, which is sometimes happening. People in the industry, for 1490, it's getting close to 1500. Obviously there is fluctuation, so it's changing on the daily basis, plus minus something. But this was the number when we finished gathering the data at the end of September. The revenue was already in Daniel's talk, and this is pretty similar, but I got it in crowns. It's 2.3 billion Czech crowns, which is roughly $110 million. The number of titles, it's 40 for 2017. So 40 games were released. It includes mobile games, PC, console, basically all of them. In 2016, it was 35, and in 2015 it's 33. So you can see the trend of a little grow, but also the 2017 year, I think it was a little bit weaker in terms of quality of the games, because you can see like not many like really major titles in comparison to 2018, which obviously is not finished, so we are not releasing any data, but you've got plenty of huge, very successful, worldwide successful titles, not just Kingdom Come, but Beat Saber, Shadowgun Legends, and Smashing 4, and many others. And export, that's quite known number. It's around 95% on average export. This is very important for state because it's foreigner money to Czech Republic, which is always a good thing. So more data will be released soon in the overall study, and with description and explanation of the methodology and other stuff. But if you look at some comparison, you see some things, but this was not in Daniel's talk, to directly compare it with the movies and music. The global data in billions of dollars are for 2016, so a little bit older. I were unable to find 2017, but there were just some articles that it already surpassed $100 billion. You see that in Czech Republic the trend is very similar to global trend. So, as you can see right now, the games industry in Czech Republic, in terms of revenues, is a little bit more than 3 times bigger than the movies, and of course, much more bigger than the music industry, even though the state does not reflect that at all. And also, maybe some of you know some numbers from the media. The movie industry is usually operating with something like, with something like 6 billion crowns for the movies, but that's just like how they are bending the numbers. It's a little bit funny because the movies industry consists of like the Czech production, which is this number 800. It's probably not visible, but it's 852 millions. That's the revenues in for the Czech productions. But then you've got like 3 point something billion for the foreigner productions. But what is not said, that 800 millions on a subsidies is going through the fund for cinematography, and therefore the foreigner productions are creating the movies in Czech Republic because it's cheaper, and they are basically including it in an overall number for the games industry, even though it's got nothing to do with Czech production, because if when BBC is creating Three Musketeers somewhere in Czech Republic, it not benefit Czech culture whatsoever, and it also not helping anything. But that's how it is. So yeah, the games are doing great, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be better. So this is also data for 2016, a number of companies or the studios. You see that the Poland is very wrong, and this is just the showing you that the Central and Eastern European countries, which most of them are missing completely, are not that organized, or were not organized at all in this year 2016. And basically, the organization that did this professional research were just unable to gather the data for these countries at all. And they somehow estimated the Poland, but the reality, because right now for 2017 and even they released in 2017 and 18 new studies under the Ministry of Culture, and right now there is more than 300 companies in Poland. But the important part on this picture are the Western countries. You can see that, and this was also what Daniel was mentioning, countries that are pretty similar to us, like Sweden, or even half the size as Finland, are actually much, much bigger. So there is huge potential for growth. I got this on another slide in some specific numbers, and I will explain it to you, especially the Canada and Netherlands. And obviously you see the Finland, $2.4 billion revenues per year, and we've got 100 million. That's like more than 20 times more for a country half the size as the Czech Republic. That's unbelievable. But yeah, Finland is a massively successful and world leader in terms of games industry. But for us, it's quite interesting, the Canada and Netherlands, and the Canada is just the Quebec region, which is 8.2 million people living there. But you can see that there is 10,000 or more than 10,000 employees on just a little bit more than 100 companies. Why is that? This is directly because of the state decisions and governmental decisions. Because on the other hand, you've got Netherlands with 420 companies and just 3,000 employees. You can see the difference, right? 3 times more employees in Canada, but 3 times less number of companies. This is because of the different approach. In Canada, they decided for tax reduction, which bring foreigner companies to set up a branch in Canada, and usually these branches are huge, like Ubisoft and others, with many hundreds of employees. And in Netherlands, they invested or like funded, they established funds for support for small and mid-sized companies, and also for the supportive infrastructure for the games industry. So basically creating incubators. And if you've been here yesterday on talk about Dutch Game Garden, this is one of the results. So the result, the Dutch Game Garden is the result. And the overall result is that many small companies, like 5-10 employees, is there, but they are like owned by Dutch people, and maybe it's a good thing. We're still looking at this as these two approaches and thinking what should be better, and we obviously take it as an example and trying to explain to politicians that these things could be done. And I think, like, for us, the Dutch model is much more appealing. So this was the comparison, but back to the association. You probably want to know what we do and what we want to achieve, because I heard when Ivan Bartoš was here, one of the questions was what will be the direct steps, the government or the let's say the city of Prague or city of Brno or the regions, or like South Moravian region, what these state and public officials can do for the games industry. And as you probably heard, the answers are always like blunt and not like going to the point. So hopefully I will show you what we really want to achieve in exact steps. So our goals are divided into like 5 basic or 5 main pillars. Publicity, I will skip that because that's obvious. Throughout the association you can promote the industry as a whole. But the other 4 requires more explanation. Education, Daniel was talking quite a lot of it. Culture, very, very important to us. I will say later on why. Trade, business, and also research and development, and the international aspect. So for the education, this is the top priority for the companies right now, like creating the people and creating educated people. So right now we started working on a global strategy for let's say change in education to improve the system for games industry, and this includes obviously cooperation with universities. What this could be, the first thing that's already happening, sending experts from the sector, gaming sector, to universities to do the talk. This is already happening, as I said, but on a level that the companies are managing it on their own. They are sending somebody there without any bigger plan, and most of the bigger companies is doing that, and it's not organized at all. But if that will go, and we try that it will go through the association, we can coordinate it much better. So in the end, this could result in things like that the whole subject would be like each week new expert from different company, and university will be quite happy about it. The bachelor and master thesis seems like a pretty simple thing, but it's still not happening much, because the universities are usually like they would like to be connected with organization that's covering more companies than just one, especially if the companies are not as big as Škoda Auto or something like that. Internships is a very big topic in for some companies, because somehow the Czech system does not allow the internships in the way that the companies would like to, and so it's so strange and ridiculous that the companies that's actually offering internships take foreigner student much more willingly than Czech, and in reality they are basically not taking the Czech students at all, because they could be there, I don't know, for just like one day a week or something for 13 weeks. It's nothing. So for example, this is happening at 2K Czech and some other companies that they are, and also Bohemia Interactive, that they are taking Dutch students because there is like full-time internship and it's required for the students have to do it, and it's for 2 semesters. So that's very appealing for the companies, and so they are taking it. This needs legislation change. This needs what the association is trying to achieve. Also, this is this is written, so you probably understand it. There is a system, to simply put it, evaluation, some subjects, and based on that, the universities are more willing to include such subjects into their programs. As you probably know, there are few universities already that are doing game-related programs or subjects, but this was built from the bottom, from the teachers and students, and the association is actually going from the top through the ministries and trying to change the legislation, so then it would be more easy for the universities to apply or include these subjects. The change in education is not just about universities, but also the high school cooperation. It's again mainly about being able to send coordinate the experts from the gaming sector and do some expert talks or something like that, which is also happening right now in few cases, but it's not really much organized. Education is not just about public education, but also private. We are looking at possibilities to support stuff like different master classes, workshops, and also things like the incubator, as was described at the Dutch Game Garden talk. This would be very beneficial for the creation of new people for the industry and finding new talents. The cultural field is very, very important for us, because officially games industry is part of the creative and culture industries, but in our case, the Ministry of Culture and many other cultural organizations are heavily influenced and controlled by the movies industry, so we need to compete with them, and because they are like controlling it, it's hard to achieve anything, but we're trying. So the subsidies that are already there, Creative Europe, we had a talk here about it. You can also apply in some projects for Horizon 2020. But these are on a European level, it's a EU thing. There is not much going on in terms of like state level. So we again talking to and trying to convince the Ministry of Culture to change that. We see in terms of funding, there are right now 2 funds that are quite relevant to us. Cultural fund, which is right now quite small and not that visible, but there is a strategy at the government to expand this fund and include games, because they starting to see that this industry is bigger, and as I said, 3 times bigger than movies. Movies got this Czech Film Fund, in Czech is Národní fond kinematografie, which was lobbied by the movie people basically to that level that they included the film even in the name, so nobody else can touch the money. But we again see opportunity that, and also we talk with them and we still are in touch with them, that there should be possibilities to change some stuff in terms of that there could be some interactive audiovisual projects included, so that would include games in the future, and there will be maybe some support. The last thing for the cultural field is the national qualification system. Probably, I don't know if you are familiar with it. So it's a state system for professions which are like officially registered or something like that, and we already applied with a new profession such as game designer to be included at, and this could result for things like let's say in the educational system, that again it will be more easy to include subjects for game design because it will be officially qualified and registered profession. And this is how the state works. Trade and business. This is where we actually already achieve few stuff, even though we are not under this ministry. We are under the culture ministry. So this also divides between Ministry of Trade and Business and also Department at Government for Science, Research and Development. But unfortunately, right now the department is more or less dead, and nobody is caring. In the previous government, it was under the Prime Minister Pavel Barák, which we had here at that time, but now it's under Prime Minister, and he's got his problems, so he doesn't care about science, research and development. And this is not just concerning the games industry, but many other scientific industries, that this is just completely stopped right now. So hopefully this will change. But in terms of subsidies, this under the trade and business, it's usually unemployment support, creating new jobs and these sort of things. It's going from EU money and these sort of things. And yes, some Czech companies already applied and received some subsidies for that. And also, but it's a marginal field, I would say. But the international promotion, as I said, it's heavily export oriented, so for us it's quite important to be visible abroad, and especially for the younger studios. So we applied and actually been accepted in the Novum project for supporting the exhibiting and at foreigner, let's say, trade shows. That's the Novum project, and also this Propet, it's for a Czech projekty ekonomické diplomacie, and in that you can, or we can get some money for international promotion and give the money to the studios somehow. This is already happening, and you can more easily exhibit your game at different venues. It already happened with the Tokyo Game Show. It already happened with Gamescom. In Korea was a G-Star. Also, it was possible for Czech companies to showcase their games there for free. Now, the Gamescom was different, but the G-Star and the Tokyo Game Show was free. Just the showcase, just the exhibiting part, you still need to buy tickets and accommodation on your own. The funding in the trade and business is a little bit tricky, because right now there is no fund close to games industry now. But as was also said in Daniel's talk, we can look at the example of Poland, where the Polish Games Association lobbied for R&D fund, which happened in 2016, operating with roughly $20 million per year. And I think CD Projekt immediately get like $7 million out of it for their new engine research. I think something like that was the. But this is R&D, so you need to do some research and development in your company, and then you can get some support for it. But for this, you need to be Polish company. We will try to show the example to some relevant people. International cooperation is again the field that we already got some successes. We had a plan to enter the European Games Developer Federation, which we did like 2 months ago. This is quite a big thing, because right now we can influence to some extent what's been decided and what's going on the European level, and European Parliament and European Commission. And most valuable thing is that we are receiving regular information about interesting things that should or can affect us. So we are aware if there would be some European change or like change on European level that will influence games industry. This was obviously a big thing with GDPR, but now maybe you heard about the regulation of games as a hazard, and this was already discussed among the European politicians, and we are trying to protect the gaming companies. On the regional level, we obviously established cooperation between the Visegrad 4 countries, which is very reasonable. But we also, this happened actually at this event, but it was a private ceremony that we signed a memorandum with 9 countries of mutual cooperation. And the benefits out of it is that we can more easily send people to abroad and get experts from abroad for various reasons, for the companies and also for some events or something like that. But we can also do things together, like the Central and Eastern European Games Awards. The 9 countries were obviously from the region Central and Eastern Europe, because we feel that these countries are at some disadvantage because they are quite small, they've been influenced by the history negatively, and they need to, let's say, stick together, especially if the bigger economies like China, US or Japan looking at us and telling us that, yeah, we would like to cooperate with you, but you need to be connected in some framework in that region, and then we can do some stuff together. Last part of the international cooperation are the trade missions. We working on that. Basically, it's a simple process in the end, but get to that is quite hard. Sending representatives of the companies on some trade foreigner missions with help and support from the state, and do some business. So that's our goals and what we achieved and trying to achieve in these fields. The membership in the association, as I said, we've got 15 members right now, but we would like to expand. We would like to include new companies, especially to preserve this activity and to make it like a long thing in longer term. So any company or individual with primary business in game development can enter. This is very important because we are not accepting like publishing companies and also companies like these marketing agencies that sometimes did the game. Their primary business must be game development. And also because we are Czech association, we accept companies based in Czech, which can be foreigner companies that got Czech branch. That's doable. As I said, we are privately funded, so there is a fee. This is right now voluntary. The company entering can choose whatever they want to pay, and it's got some tiers. The lowest, so it's voluntary, but there are tiers which you can choose. The lowest one is 10,000 crowns per year, but it can go up to 300. The difference in tiers, actually there is difference between, because more you pay, the more votes you receive when there is this general assembly and there is some voting. But this is what you have to do, or you must do to enter. But what will bring you, obviously, you will become part of the association, which also means that you are partly owning the association. You can, even as a member, and you don't need to be elected in anything, but you can suggest what the association should take care about. So the areas and problems of interest that we should focus on, and then it's going to be discussed on a board. I will explain the structure, because I got this elect and be elected. So the association got structure. It's a member base. It's all the members. Then we've got elected board, and the last thing, is the chairman, that is the executive force. And the board is also doing the control, the action of the association, because that's the main controlling organ. So, last slide, which will be announced right now. This is a new thing, because this is a pretty expensive thing. To be the proper member, we will be starting Developers Club. And this is for all the people interested in game development, not just developers, but people that would like to be informed what the association doing, what's happening, what are interesting things in game development industry, and such things. So being member of the Developers Club is easy, there is no fee, you will just sign up and you will be regularly informed, probably on monthly basis, what happened in that month, and there will be also some opportunities that you can use for your benefits. So we will be starting or opening the sign up next week, and if you are unsure about the whole membership, you can at least join the club. As I said, it's easy to join, but it's also very easy to cancel the membership in the club. So it's a very automatic process. It's completely automatic process. So I am a little bit longer, but that's that for the association. Thank you. The GDS 2018 is coming to an end. Again, we really appreciate that all of you arrived and has been part of this conference. Quite a lot of people already left because probably they are not Prague and need to travel home. But still, I think it was quite successful year. I need to again thank all our members and sponsors which are helping us a lot. I hope you enjoy this conference and you will stick with us for the future years. GDS 2019 will be probably announced much sooner than we are used to because we want to again bring some new stuff and we want to change the thing how we will promote the event. So follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and also the Czech Games Twitter, where we will be sending some news regarding GDS 2019. Very important thing, this event wouldn't be possible without the help of the whole organizing team, which mainly consists of our volunteers. So I would like to invite all our team of volunteers on the stage so you can see them again and probably thank them with big round of applause. So please, volunteers, come on the stage. So yeah, this is the whole team behind the conference. Thanks again for coming. Hope you enjoyed the conference and see you next year. Thank you, goodbye.